Well, hospital porters, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to her Panwo TV. I've just finished work and I'm off on another adventure. I always say that, don't I? But yeah, this is going to be good. So it's not very long. I've only got to get to the city centre, but I'm going to head there now.
And this is where I'm going today. I'm going to the Oxford stop-off of the COVID-19 Truth Tour. Now just take a look at these various places here. Let's get a list of areas. Now, at the time I'm recording this, as you can see here, it is the 10th of September, but all these others below that, that is Coventry, Birmingham, Leicester, Nottingham, Liverpool, Manchester, Carlisle, Glasgow, Aberdeen, Edinburgh, Newcastle upon Tyne, Leeds, Sheffield, Norwich, Cambridge and 2 in London, are yet to come. So depending on when you watch this, you'll know which ones are gone and which are yet to come. This is going for the entire month, these people. They're travelling all over the country, never resting, keeping on going. I really think if you can get to one of these events, please do, because I'll tell you what, I think you'll enjoy it. I'm certainly have a very, very good feeling that I'm about to. So there's only one thing to do. Let's go there.
I'm at the bus stop now and I've come across this Rose Hill COVID-19 local response. This is the sinister bit here. Could you be a local volunteer on the street? Could you provide... Oh, it's just asking people for help. That's not so bad. But there are these people called COVID-19 marshals. I think they're called that. And well, I'll say a bit more about that later because the bus will be here in a minute. But going on the bus, of course, I've got to wear a mask, just like on the coach to Newcastle. But this is another mask I've got, which is equally subversive. It says here, look, 2 + 2 does not equal 5. Now that, of course, is a reference to George Orwell's 1984, because 2 + 2, saying 2 + 2 does not equal 5, is the freedom from which all other freedoms come. And so I'm going to go on the bus wearing that. I've got a third mask actually, which I'll show you later. But it's another of these sort of very seditious kind of messages, seeing as I'm forced in some cases to wear these stupid things. So the bus will be here in a minute, and I'll head downtown. I'm now in the giant consumerist cathedral of Westgate Shopping Centre, as you can see all around me here. I did an entire video about that. I don't know if you remember it. Quite a pile, this, isn't it?
You're okay today, but Monday it's going in.
Yeah. Hello everyone, I'm here, I've arrived, I'm here with, you recognise this chap, it's Mark Devlin.
That's
hey
right.
Mark. Have you...
Of COVID fame, you know.
You know, Mark, you've seen his rants on YouTube about the lockdown. His tiny little virus particle, never, was it that line for Lord of the Rings? So much fear and doubt over something so small and insignificant. No.
That's right.
And so we're here now, we have here a COVID-19 Truth Tour. You can see, end the lockdowns, end social distancing, end track and trace, say no to the muzzle. Oh, and there we go, this lady here with, oh, this is brilliant, here, look. Save our children, where we go and we go all. Yeah, if you're mad, we won't wear a mask. If you're, yeah, brilliant, yes, absolutely fantastic. And look, you can see these other things. This is what we've all been saying for a long, long time. And well, I've got my own version. I don't have any placard, but I've got my own version of it. I'll show you that in a minute. And you can see here, we've got these various things to give out. I'll show you these in more details later, but there's various kinds of, this one's just dropped, but we're going to be giving these out to people.
For the opportunity to express how they feel about what the government are doing to us. Do we feel bullied by our own government?
Aye.
Do we feel they're doing all they can to preserve our health and prosperity and happiness, as is our right?
Give the government a message. Pull up a dick and have a seat.
Sure. Thank you. That man. Are you happy to be spitting for Boris Johnson every morning?
Yes.
Oh.
Are you happy to be classed as infected unless proved uninfected?
No.
Does that make you feel free and happy and healthy?
No.
Are you happy in your face nappies, your muzzles and your masks?
No.
If you're out there and you're wearing a mask and you feel you're saving lives, yeah, and I'm really cool with that, because that's why you should wear a mask. But maybe we need to do a bit more research on what these masks actually can and can't do. Is it an efficacious way to deal with the virus? That's all we're asking. The government needs to justify these impositions they're putting on us. They need to be able to prove it. Sorry?
I can send you a few studies if you'd like. There's some very good papers on it about exactly what materials will block and exactly how much it'll block it. There's scientific studies have been done on this, and I can send it to you if that would help.
Okay, there are scientific studies that prove that masks prevent the
Very
transmission
intellectual.
of the virus.
There's an idiot over here just putting his finger up at people.
We were told for a long time that there was a lot of science to prove that they were not efficacious. The only people who should be wearing masks are the clinicians. However, that's a debate. This debate is deserving to be had. That's all we're saying. We should be allowed to have it. The media are not holding our government to account. There is no debate. There's no debate in Parliament and there's no debate within the
He's a
media.
dickhead, that one, man.
Social media are shutting us down. All these voices, qualified doctors, qualified scientists who do not agree. It's not settled, okay? Anyhow, so we are here because the lockdowns are killing people. The government knows this, the government has
He's got a
told
great
you this.
t-shirt, that guy, hasn't he?
200,000 people dying
cute
from the
one.
first lockdown. Are you ready for the next one? Are you ready for the next cohort of our elderly who are still in lockdown? They're still not seeing their relatives. They're still having visits outside in masks, unable to touch their fellow human beings. Do you think this is a good idea? Is that happy and a healthy way to carry on? It isn't. Social distancing, track and trace, muzzles, vaccinations. Don't even get me started. Are you happy with an unlicensed vaccine? Are we happy with that? There is a government consultation open right now. You can give your opinion. If you're not happy with that, get on the website and tell them what you think. Is there any reason why they should not have to license a vaccine before they get it rolled out? Is there?
No.
Can they justify an unlicensed vaccine for an illness? Less than 1% of people will succumb to this illness, and they want us to take an unlicensed vaccine. If you're not happy about it, then you need to get on to your government. If you're not happy about the social distancing, the psychological damage it's doing to our children, you need to campaign your schools. If you're not happy about having your street furniture change, one-way systems in your street, treating us like idiots, then you need to talk to your council. We need to start campaigning at a local level. More on the vaccines. No liability for vaccine companies who produce this unlicensed vaccine. No liability.
Yeah.
No legal responsibility to make sure it's safe. If your children drop dead from this vaccine, the companies are not accountable. It doesn't cost them a penny. There is no incentive for them to make this safe or effective. Your government has already committed £300 million for a vaccine. They don't even know if it's going to be efficacious. They don't even know if it's going to arrive. Your money is going down the drain. What did I read this morning? £100 billion for mass testing for the common cold? Anyway, that's why we're here today. Come over, if you are concerned, if you're wearing a mask today and you feel that you're not really sure why you're doing it, are you just going along with it because you want to protect your fellow citizens? If you feel it's a kind of something's not quite right about it, then come and talk to, there's lots of people here who are going to talk to you today. If you feel that there's something not right about this, what's this, rule of six? What is it?
It's 666 apparently. The number of the beast.
If you're not happy with the new 666 rule, whatever that is.
I can't remember all the details, but apparently it all adds up to
But don't
three
worry,
sixes in
don't
it, yeah.
worry, it's all going to be all right until Monday.
6
The
feet,
virus
6 people,
knows,
what was it?
yeah?
6 feet, 6 people, and I can't remember the other one, yeah.
As of Monday,
That's the third
the
one.
virus is going to be attacking people in groups of 7. Be very, very careful. But for today, it's fine. You can come and be with us. If we're in groups of 7, 8 or 9, the virus knows he's going to leave us alone. All right? So come and talk to these people. We're nice people. We'll give you a hug. We'll give you some information. There are doctors. There are scientists. There are many, many people who are not in agreement with the way this is being handled.
Why are you spending 20 billion pounds?
Come and talk to us.
Yeah.
Come and talk to us. We are trying to preserve our humanity. They do not want us to remain human. They are fighting against our human nature. Social distancing is not human nature. They're going to bring in more lockdowns. This is going to go on and on and on until we make it stop. They are not going to hand back your life to you. They've taken it. They've taken your money, they've taken your economy, they've taken your old people, and they put it all down the drain. Your jobs are going, your money's going, and they're not going to hand it back. This won't end until we end it. So come and educate yourself. They are controlling you through fear, ignorance. Come and educate yourself. There are many ways to educate yourself. Stop listening to your telly. This pandemic exists only in the television. And the other way they operate is relying on our apathy. Do not be apathetic. Do not assume everything is going to return to normal. They are telling you this is the new normal. You're not getting your life back. It just isn't going to happen. Just because they let you go shopping now doesn't mean life's gone back to normal. Many people are still locked down. Many people have lost their jobs. It's not happening, people. You need to educate yourself, you need to stand up for yourself and stop deferring responsibility for your health, for your education, to your government. It's going to end very badly. So come and talk to us, get a free hug. If you'd like to take this microphone and share your experiences, or share your opinion, I'll be very happy to give it to you. We'll have various people coming and speaking today. There's literature that you can come and get.
I've just done a little talk. I just spoke for a few minutes to people. I didn't record it, unfortunately. I can't really do a talk and then... Well, this lady recorded it. Someone else recorded it. So you may be able to see it somewhere else. But
you see it on Jason of the Disbury.
Jason
of the Disbury.
Of the Disbury.
Yeah, and that's where that's going straight away.
Oh, right. Thanks very much. Yeah. Thanks very much. Yeah. Do you want to say hello to the Panmo TV viewers?
Oh, hello.
What's your name?
My name's Lou.
Lou. Oh, it's good to meet you, Lou. I'm Ben.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Ben.
Good to see you. Great you're here. This is a really, really good event, I think.
Yeah, it certainly is. I jumped on the bus and I thought, let's see where this goes. And we've been stopping and around one place a day. It's been beautiful. It's been hard work.
I've noticed I've been following your progress on your little flyer you put up, and really great. I'm hoping to come to the London event as well. So
yeah, that should be done, because the one previously 2 weeks ago was just beautiful. We were all spreading different messages, all connected, and there was no screaming. There was no shouting, well, apart from good stuff being shouted. It was just an outpouring of love.
I really like the atmosphere. I mean, the atmosphere looked great. I wish I could have gone. I saw David Icke and all the others talking. It looked really great, and I just wish.
Yeah, when David Icke talked, it lit up like a Christmas tree. It was like, whoa, everyone's gone for it.
It's one of his finest ever speeches, I'd say. Yeah,
by far. And one incredible thing is there was lots of hugging going on. People taking pictures like, I'll take a picture of you, yeah? And then, come over here, give us a hug. Or someone just holding up a banner and some random person would just go up to them, let me just hug you, because it's beautiful what you're saying.
Yeah. That's what they want to stop us doing. It's like I was saying about loneliness, They're trying to break down our connections. Mr. Mark is going to give us a...
If you like.
Yeah, go ahead. He's going to... This is going to be good. Thanks for recording that. Thanks a lot. I'll post a link.
Good afternoon, folks.
If you upload it.
So, how is 2020 working out for everyone so far? I bet nobody on New Year's Day 2020, if you told them we would be living our lives in this way by this point in the year, would have believed a word of it. If you'd explained to people that we'd be walking around with bits of cloth over our faces, that we'd be standing behind bits of tape at supermarkets, We'd be following one-way systems around stores. We're not allowed to see our grandparents. We have to count the number of people that we can socialise with. If you'd explained to people that that was incoming at the start of this year, nobody would have believed you. They'd say you've been smoking some heavy grade stuff and you need to go and check yourself into the nearest lunatic asylum. And yet, here we are, living in exactly these ways, and how easy it's been for all these things to be imposed. The only reason that these measures have succeeded is because people are still believing the fear-based mind control and propaganda that comes out of mainstream media outlets, and people are still placing stock in governments as reliable sources of information, and they still labour under the delusion that governments are there to represent your interests and keep you safe. This is not the case. The mainstream media are mouthpieces for government propaganda, and this agenda is nothing about keeping people safe from a deadly virus. On so many occasions in the past, you know. Then we have some alternative information available up here, or of course you can take it upon yourself to research some alternative takes on what's really going on, because there's way more to what is happening in this country right now than some deadly virus called COVID-19. There are so many more aspects to what's going on. And as I said earlier, so much of what we're being told just makes no sense, especially when it comes to masks. Why are we being asked to wear masks this late in the game? If lockdown measures worked, why would it be necessary to introduce masks 5 months on? So many medical professionals have stated themselves that the masks don't work in terms of doing what we're told they do, stopping deadly virus spores from getting in or out. So many medical professionals will tell you that the masks do more harm than good, because your body is trying to expel breath and everything that's in it, waste product, and the masks are holding it in. You're breathing in your own CO2, which your body is trying to expel. They tell you that these temporary masks, the disposable ones, should be got rid of every 4 hours or so. And here's an interesting question. What's happening to all the masks? Because I'm finding masks thrown down in the street, tossed into waste paper baskets. If they really were full of deadly virus spores and they were literally saving people's lives, shouldn't there be a more secure and safe method of disposing of them? And yet I've not heard any official government advice or recommendations on how people should dispose of the masks. That seems quite funny to me. And just how arbitrary and random the rules are. So you've got different rules now on wearing masks between England and Wales. What happens if you live on the English-Welsh border? Apparently, you know, you have to wear a mask in a shop if you're in England, but you can step 2 paces into the Wales border and now you no longer have to wear a mask. Seems to me that these rules are just completely arbitrary and somebody's just made them up, rather than them being based on any kind of science. Another thing that surgeons will tell you is that the reason they wear masks of the type that so many are walking around wearing now is to protect people that they're operating on in hospitals from little bits of spittle and little bits of saliva from coming out of their mouth going into, you know, open wounds as they perform surgery. That's what those masks are for. We're walking around wearing them for what we think are entirely different purposes, but we're told that they just don't work. The World Health Organization and the Center for Disease Control in America has now withdrawn their recommendation that people should be wearing masks, and they've admitted that they do more harm than good. So why are we being told by our government that they're doing any good at all? Why is it that you go into a supermarket and you might find all the staff there that are working 8-hour shifts not wearing masks, and yet you're asked to wear one when you nip in for 5 minutes just to grab a loaf of bread? Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Surely somebody who's in that environment for 8 hours that day is going to be more of a threat than someone that just nips in for 5 minutes. It's all arbitrary, it's all random, it's all bad science, and so many professionals are telling us this now. And we can find out all this stuff for ourselves rather than just blindly complying with what we're being ordered to do. Common sense, critical thinking, logic, We've been endowed with these gifts as humans, being able to think about the situation for ourselves rather than believe in the word of proven liars in the mainstream media and liars in government. And if we really do apply a bit of critical thought and common sense to the way we're being asked to live, we would have to come to the conclusion that it makes no sense. And therefore, there are ulterior motives here. There are other things that this so-called virus is being used to justify. And this brings me back to what I was saying earlier about how there are attempts underway to change the fabric of society and the way that people live and think and perceive and go about their lives.
And now I'm going to play you a recording of one of my speeches. This was the second one, which I've decided not to include both because I didn't record the first one. It's actually on someone else's channel, and I'll post a link on her Panmo Voice to that. But also, they're both pretty much the same in terms of content. I have to use this audio recording. I did record it with my camera, but my angle is so terrible because basically I was holding it in my free hand that it's really, all you see is like the sky weaving around. It's really terrible. So this is the audio here with some photographs taken by someone at the event.
So the COVID-19 Truth Tour, you may have heard of us, you may not have. You may have heard what it's all about. But these people here, not me personally, I'm just here from Oxford, I'm just here for the day, but some of these people here have been travelling the entire country every single day this month. They've been doing an event like this in certain locations around the country. There's going to be a big event in London on the 26th, which I think is going to be the climax of the entire tour. There was a brilliant one a couple of weekends ago in London at Trafalgar Square, where David Icke spoke to many, many other people, and it was not covered by the news. So you may think, what do you mean truth? Why are we here looking for truth? Why are we concerned about truth? Because if you get your information through the mainstream media, for your newspapers, BBC, ITV, you're not going to get the truth. Again and again we prove that it is propaganda. It withholds information you need to have and gives you false information. It is the original fake news. And these people have the nerve to call us fake news. And we know, I know I've spoken to two people today. One of them called me a racist and a fascist. And the other said I was peddling dangerous conspiracy theories. And you know, where did they hear that? Because I can absolutely assure you that none of that is true, not one word of it. And if you're willing to listen, you will find out. If you're willing to go beyond the big one-eyed cyclops of lies that sits in the corner of your room. Ending the lockdowns. Why do we want to end lockdowns? What's wrong with a lockdown? Gets you off work, get a bit of a holiday. Well, we found out a lot of people have actually died through one way or another because of the lockdown. There's been some people who have actually taken their own lives, which is extremely sad as a result of the lockdown. People are already in a vulnerable state of mind, who are made worse by the fact they have these conditions imposed on us. This is basically the state stepping in and saying to people like us, like as if we were prisoners in jail, where you are segregated into certain wings and certain categories. You could be put in solitary confinement if you misbehave, things like that. That's basically taking those rules out of the prison and putting them into society in general. In other words, turning the whole country and the world beyond it into a prison. The lockdown was given in the United States specifically, but it will probably be used in other countries. It's given the excuse for the opportunity to commit electoral fraud. In November there's going to be a US presidential election. The likelihood is that it will not be conducted properly. As a result, if the person who is announced as the winner may not be the real winner, it will be moved into, that sort of thing will be moved into other areas. We have businesses being shut down. Of course, it's small businesses, it's your medium-sized entrepreneurs, it's your local businesses that are most affected by things like this. Big corporations, they have the ability, they have the financial capital and padding to withstand these kinds of things. The local businesses, run by dedicated people, working really hard to serve their communities, they do not have that. How many of you, hands up here, who has seen a pub closed in the last few months? Anyone seen a pub closed? Exactly. I bet everyone has gone past a pub and you thought, that pub used to be open, that pub's hundreds of years old, it's shut. You only have to go down to go down to St Ebbs, there's I forgot what it's called now, but it's down by the castle wall. 800 years that pub was then, it's shut. That's because of the lockdown. Social distancing is another thing. Now, social distancing is another thing we want to end. It's not because we want to end it, but the thing is, it's existed already. We've got enough of it already before this. Do you know there is a loneliness epidemic in this world right now, in this country? Do you know there is a minister for loneliness because it's become such a problem? Do you know that more than 70% of 38-year-olds are not in a long-term romantic relationship? Fewer and fewer people are having children. Fewer and fewer people are getting married. Marriages don't last. Relationships don't last. Families split up. Old people do not have contact with their children and grandchildren. They're just left on the shelf. I saw a heartbreaking interview on TV the other day about an old lady. She hadn't spoken to anyone for a week. And she lives in Britain, she lives in a city. There's 69 million people in this country. Why should anyone be lonely? The more people are lonely than ever before, the population rises, and people become more shut off from each other than ever before. And this makes it worse. This distills the entire process. And it's meant to, because it's meant to demoralise us. Everything is designed to break our spirits. Absolutely everything. All the things that Mark talked about just now. They're all designed to demoralise, to crush us mentally and psychologically and culturally. End track and trace. We want to end track and trace. What's track and trace? Well, some of you might recognise me actually, because I'm a bit of an infamous local figure. My name's Devlin Jones. A few years ago, I had oh dear, we got someone else who believes the mainstream media. Stop reading The Guardian. Get educate yourself, idiot. So once again, we had a bit of that this week, I'll tell you, of this particular event. There's, my daughter came home from school one day and told me the school wanted to fingerprint her. But they didn't ask my permission. They didn't say to me, oh, we're going to do it. They just wanted to do it. They were operating on instructions from the local education authority. They were operating on instructions from the Department of Health. And when I tried to make inquiries, they fobbed me off. In the end, I just retracted to take her out of school. Why do they want this information from us? Why do the government are so keen to know exactly what we're doing? What pubs we go to? What kind of things we buy? Where we get on the train? Where we get the coach? Why do they need to know these things? You may think because you're innocent, you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear. You have everything to fear. The government has proved itself. Once the government has power, it tends to wield it. It doesn't give it back voluntarily. It tends to get as much as it can out of that. So, at the moment, the GCHQ, which is the intelligence, is the Electronic Intelligence Agency, it's been revamped. There's been a massive new facility built in Cheltenham by Carillion PLC, that infamous public service contractor. Why? Why are they spending so much money on watching what we're doing and where we're going? Do you think they're just going to sit on that information, categorise it, just leave it there? No, they're doing it for a reason. They're doing it because they want something from it. Say no to the muzzle. Now the muzzle, of course, is what some people here are wearing today or across their face, like dangerous dogs. I'm not going to judge you for that. It's up to you what you do. I believe in freedom, including the freedom to comply if you wish. I just think you need to have the information before you make these decisions, and the information is being withheld from you. That's what we're doing here today. Firstly, I was a hospital porter. I was at the John Ratcliffe for 23 years, and I had to do quarantine drills. I was actually involved in a real quarantine situation once for Acetobacter, which is a very dangerous disease. Go away. We had to put on like goggles and a thing over our face that looked like a gas mask. You might have seen the firemen and people like that wearing them. And we had to put on a big white plastic suit that covered our head and with a hood that went over our head. If you want to protect yourself from airborne virus particles, that's what you need to do. The paper masks I see some of you wearing, or the fabric masks that some of you can buy, and some people are actually making of their own. I made one of my own, which I'll show you in a minute. These do not stop airborne virus particles. I know this was drummed into us continuously because I worked in the operating theatres. I wore these. What they do is they protect a surgical patient in theatre from aerosols from your breath, and they protect you from inhaling little tiny droplets of blood, things like that. Oh, they come for me. I know we couldn't get away with this all day. I think they're doing it. Oh, it's the fire brigade. It's all right. Thanks, mate. Thanks. And wear masks. Not only they are not sufficient at the job, they have an ulterior motive. They are all part of social isolation. They're all part of that because they cut down communication between people. They're essentially, it's another couple of feet of social distancing, in other words. Because you may think you can communicate without a mask. Well, firstly, I personally find them to be a speech impediment. A lot of other people do. You can't talk properly when you've got them on. Secondly, you can't use facial expression as much as you used to. Now, facial expression is very important in communication. It's all subliminal, you don't necessarily know, but it's all to do with things such as nasolabial folds. Do you know what those are? Do you know what nasolabial folds? They're very important for communication. It's these bits. These two lines that run between your nose and your lips. When they move, it gives subtle little messages to other people. They are very, very important in interaction and communication. And if those are covered up, you cannot address and deal and interact with people like you normally would. And this is very important. I don't think the government want us to be talking to each other and interacting and discussing. They want us all to be atomised individuals. They don't want us to have communities. This is why they have agencies now instead of proper jobs. You have to join an agency and they move you around because they don't want you building up a camaraderie with people at work. I noticed this at my hospital. I noticed it happened during the time I was there. And this is all a part of it as well. Now, vaccinations. This is one of the most important things of all. We want to say no to compulsory vaccinations because you may notice that, you may have heard in the news that a certain gentleman or certain lady has come down with a very serious condition. What's that? Madam, what's that condition called again? Transverse myelitis. One of the guinea pigs has come down with transverse myelitis. It's a very nasty disease. Now, in order to protect them from one disease, they called another. And this has happened several times during vaccination trials and indeed vaccination campaigns. In 1976, the swine flu epidemic in the United States. Gilead Pharmaceuticals, run by none other than Donald Rumsfeld. Yeah, he keeps coming up, that guy, all the time. Him and Henry Kissinger and George Soros. Whenever you look around, those guys are there, I'll tell you. They had a vaccine because everyone was terrified of getting swine flu. By the end of the epidemic, one person died of swine flu. A young army recruit died of swine flu. More than that had died of side effects from the vaccine, and lots of people came down with Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is a very, very nasty, debilitating, incurable disease, a life-changing condition. Also, the American War College in 1970 said something very sinister indeed. They released a report called Revolution in Military Affairs, where they said that war was going to have to change. You couldn't have big gun battlefield wars anymore because with nuclear weapons, it's just too destructive, everyone just kills each other. So they're going to move into biological warfare, including sophisticated biological warfare, including viruses that cause cancer. And there are viruses, you may have heard of HPV, there's several viruses that cause cancer, and they want to actually use these as weapons to engage and defeat an enemy. And they said the best way of doing this, the most efficient weapons delivery system, was a covert vaccination campaign in which people were forcibly medicated without their consent or even their knowledge. And when it comes to knowledge, it doesn't even mean the doctors and nurses who do the vaccination. You can medicate an entire population without anyone knowing, no consent given, nothing. As Mark's t-shirt over there says, I do not consent, I was never asked. And with these sort of situations, you never are asked. Now, the American War College is very influential, and you may wonder who the target population is. Well, there's no reason to suppose the target population in this case is not all of us. What they want to medicate with us, I don't know, but until they tell us, I think we should, my advice to you, again, it's up to you, my advice to you, don't let anyone stick anything in your arm. Now, the new pretend laws. Now, by pretend laws, it refers to regulations that haven't been ratified properly that are being imposed. You can be, there's all kinds of fines and other things you have now. They've not been put into law properly, not been voted on, they've just been put in. There's states of emergency. I mean, that's always the thing they do, isn't it, emergency situation. You justify anything with a state of emergency, the Patriot Act, things like that. All states of emergency. The burning of the Reichstag, state of emergency. USS Maine, state of emergency. We want investigation and accountability. What accountability do we have now? All these laws are being imposed on us, and we're heading for lockdown number 2 now. What's coming next? When are we going to have lockdown 3, lockdown 4, lockdown 5? You may laugh, but there's nothing in law that prevents that from happening. None of these measures have any internal restraint. There's no sunset clauses. There is absolutely no reason why the government shouldn't just go on and on and on doing this for as long as they want. They alone decide how long these regulations last. So we want that to end. We want to be treated as adult citizens, and not children. We need to be protected from danger. We want proper accountability under law by our elected leaders. Liability on medical and pharmaceutical products. If you went to a restaurant and had something to eat, you caught food poisoning, you died maybe, someone died, what would happen? You could sue them. They could even be arrested. They could face criminal prosecution for causing death through negligence. So what if you get ill or die from a side effect of a vaccine? What happens to the manufacturer? What happens to the health service provider? What happens to the government who introduced a policy to, in some cases, compulsorily vaccinate you? Nothing. They have legal immunity. So they have no incentive to be safe. They have no real legal incentive to not to skimp on safety measures and things like that, and testing and things like that. Interestingly, I feel that compulsory vaccination will be introduced in some countries. Australia, I think, most likely. Australia is going full fash at the moment. I don't know if you've seen the video of a pregnant woman being handcuffed by police for posting on social media. Can you believe it? What was she posting? She was summoning people, inviting people to attend an event just like this one. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think we're pretty harmless people like us, you know. But in Australia, apparently, we're dangerous dissidents. And even if you invite people to come and talk to us, you can be arrested. They've got drones in Australia. There was a guy who was stopped by the police for not wearing a mask on a suburban street where he was at least 100 yards from anyone else. The only people who came near him were the police officers who were detaining him. There's all kinds of things that could happen in terms of where this will go through now, vaccinations, things like that. They may try to guilt trip you if you don't have a vaccination. They may make it. You may need some kind of ID card. Maybe that's what they wanted my daughter's fingerprints for, so that you can ride on buses or go to see a dentist, all kinds of other things. We don't know. We need some kind of accountability from the authorities. These people need to have faced the same consequences for their actions that we do in terms of the law. We want the media to be held accountable for fake news. I've had 3 people calling me names today. Fascist, racist, someone called me a dangerous conspiracy theorist. I just had someone behind me calling me a fascist again. Where do they get this from? Went from the truth. Am I? I am certainly not. We've had David Icke banned from Australia for being a fascist. I don't know if any of you know David Icke, if you watched any of his things, you know how un-fascist that guy is. So, the people, I think the media outlets, I don't know if all the people who were part of this tour agree with me on this, but I certainly think that media outlets who spread these kinds of lies, I mean the BBC, the Guardian, they're the worst, but all of them, all of the mainstream media outlets do for some reason or another. It should be like being in court. You should have to prove your case. If you're going to smear someone and defame someone or say something bad about a group of people like us, you should prove it in court, or should not be allowed to publish. And that brings us on to freedom of speech, not censorship. You could be banned from social media for saying what we're saying. I've had posts deleted just having links to these kinds of events. Yeah, it's like book burning. In a media, it's not just books anymore. It's just taking people's opinions and subjecting them to what's euphemistically called fact-checking. Fact-checking. You ever thought that's a strange phrase, fact-checking? Because a lot of what the fact-checkers say is actually completely and provably false. So why do they call it fact-checking? Probably for the same reason that in George Orwell's 1984, the organisation that distorted history and current affairs was called the Ministry of Truth. They can't exactly say we are the propaganda arm of Facebook, can they? We can't say we're Zuckerberg's red pencil. They can't say that. No, we're fact-checking. But facts aren't derived through suppressing information. Facts are derived by giving people access to information and allowing them to discuss it openly in a court of public opinion. And that's what we invite you here to do today. That's what we'd like you all to do today. We don't want you to stop watching the BBC. We just want you to watch that and watch what we have to say. There are people all around me here who have literature which you might want to read. You can just take it from them, have a read of it, gives you more information, gives you links to other locations. And I know very well that things are getting so bad now, the government are getting so dictatorial, that even without making it law, you have to wear a mask everywhere. They'll say, well, you have to wear a mask to do certain things, ride on a bus, go into the shops, and who doesn't need to do these things? So in that situation, you can make those rules work against them. What you need to do, I'll show you exactly what you can do. Make your own mask. Get a piece of blank cloth, and so you make your own. You can write something on it. I'll show you mine. Two plus 2 does not equal 5. You may think to yourself, I know that, mate. I did learn maths at school. I know 2 plus 2. Sorry? Yes, 2 plus 2 does not equal 5. You may think you know that, but I'll tell you what, this is from George Orwell's 1984, which is where I reference the Ministry of Truth. It's also where you get phrases like thought police and Big Brother. 2 plus 2 does not equal 5. It's the freedom to say that is the freedom from which all other freedoms emerge. So you don't have to choose this one. You can choose your own subversive message and write it on there if you want. You can think of one. You can even buy these. You can get ones from InfoWars and things like that. And David, they make these. And someone comes up to you and asks you about it. It's a good opportunity to get into a conversation with them about these kinds of issues, which is why I wear this whenever I go into the shop. If I'm going to be forced to buy, otherwise I can't buy food to eat, and I'm going to comply in a way that undoes the very objective of the laws in the first place. And no one can force me to take this off. If a security guard comes up to me and tells me to take this off, I'll say, I'm not taking this off. I don't want to get infected, do I? So have fun with it. That's all I can say, because it's a good laugh. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be here for a while longer, I think. I don't know if anyone else has anything to say. Anyone else? If not, please just take leaflets from people. They'll give you more details about what you can learn about this issue. And above all, make up your minds. Don't believe the hype, as the song goes. And hopefully we can get out of this and we can move from this orbiting prison camp into a world of freedom. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, mate.
I've had my own journey with medicine, so I'd already had a bit of to and fro with the so-called national health.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're talking about Russian Revolution. Bolshevik Revolution.
No, India.
India. Well, yeah, it was a revolution.
Well,
it was a transition.
Yeah, sure.
There was no revolution.
Well, they all
England gave India back to them. It wasn't a revolution.
Science tries to find the cause of an effect. I think after 100 years, trying to find a cause of something, you're not finding it. Maybe your theory is a little bit wrong.
Himself to a national socialist.
You're starting to read about something called terrain theory.
I'm from Oxford. I'm living here in Oxford.
Oh, you're Oxford. To make more sense with me.
Family.
Because I remember growing up when my mother got ill, I'd be by her bedside.
I come from Wales originally.
That's what it is.
I come from Wales.
I never caught the illness that she had.
I've never really lost the accent.
Whenever she was ill. It's the same thing with my sisters. They would often get ill and I wouldn't. And I wouldn't get their illness at all. People keep telling me my immune system's really good.
Oh, hello, Danielle. Hello, how are you? Oh, hello, and how are you? I'm fine, thanks. Yes, I'm fine.
It kind of makes sense to me.
Sorry?
Are you preaching?
We are doing a bit of that, yes.
So really, it's about what's in our environment.
Oh, it's nice to...
It's nice to meet you. See you later.
See, in 2014,
communist organisation.
I'd been treated for quite some time.
I'm not an organisation at all. I'm not. I don't think I'm left wing or right wing.
Suddenly I had a
your
stroke.
own sort of scenario.
Yeah, I'm sort of. I have something called HAPANWO, Hospital Porters Against the New World
I
Order.
lost the use of the right side of my body.
HPANWO.
Oh,
Hospital
right.
Porters. I've got like websites and things like that. I run that myself.
Still had a lot shaking in my right leg. Everything was drooped down.
There's all kinds of things like that.
Stuff is true. You got
The
that.
doctors, well, it didn't really do much for me because I'd had my stroke and I'd laid on the floor for 4 days undiscovered. So by the time I showed up at hospital, they didn't think it was very serious because I got up and kind of made my way to them. I got sent to my doctors and my doctors just wanted to give me more drugs.
Oh, we've done a good job, I think, Mark.
More drugs.
It's done very well, mate.
Good work, man. I've got to move my car.
More serious conditions in me.
Do. How easily is it that they can control you? In my mind, I brew. Lockdown, go to the crowd, behave like a clown. But don't be going downtown or you'll be slammed with a hefty Great British pound. Your businesses have shut down. They don't care if you mentally break down. Your landlord has your tenancy on a countdown. What you gonna do? Still gonna let them tell you? Don't meet your friends. Do you really think this controlling will end? 2 meter, 1 meter, back to 2 meter. Everyone's policing, bleat, 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 bleater, curtain, twitcher, little snitcher. Hello 999, my neighbour's been for 3 walks today, please catch her. Truth blocker, fact checker, corrupted zucker, freedom snatcher, immunity sucker, gagging order.
Yeah.
This is what's going on, people. And then they tell you to roll up for the vaccine, roll up. No, I won't take your vaccine. You may want to chip me, but I won't be a machine. I saw what your poison did in Africa and India. No thank you, my bone immunity is clean. I've seen it here too. In Great Britain, vaccine for swine flu made by mind brew. Measles with the needles. If you don't accept the vaccine, they categorize you into the evils. We're not evil. We've done research on this. All those meetings, constant bullying, pressure from 6 in the morning to 12 at night. You're gonna have to be strong for your life. For your life, you'll have to fight. This is about a virus called COVID. It's fear that makes you so devoted. Why aren't people falling like those videos from Wuhan? I'm not afraid to speak the truth. My name is Hannah Khan. Please stick around. We come in peace. We spread the truth, even if upon us you do frown. Just do what's best for you. Don't let them tell you what to do. Don't let them control you. Be you.
Yay! Well done. Nice one, nice one. That was great. That was great. Well done, Hannah.
Is that a take?
That was Hannah there with a brilliant poem about this COVID. Right, well, mate. See you in a bit.
When you actually look at the ingredients inside a vaccination, you might change your mind. So I'm going to read some of the ingredients inside the vaccinations and the effects it has on human health. Ammonium sulfate, which is salt, suspected gastrointestinal, liver, nerve and respiratory system poison. Beta-propiolactone, known to cause cancer, suspected gastrointestinal, liver, respiratory, skin, sense organ poison. Genetically modified yeast, animal, bacterial and viral DNA can be incorporated into recipient's DNA and cause unknown genetic mutations. Latex rubber can cause life-threatening allergic reactions. Monosodium glutamate MSG, glutamic acid, being studied for mutagenic, tetragenic, developmental malformations, and monstrosities, and reproductive effects, and neurotoxins. Allergic reactions can range from mild to severe. Okay, next ingredient, aluminium. Implications as a cause of brain damage. Suspected factor in Alzheimer's disease. Dementia, seizures and comas. Allergic reactions can occur on skin. Formaldehyde, a major constituent of embalming fluid, poisonous if ingested. Probable carcinogen, suspected gastrointestinal, liver, immune system, nerve, reproductive system and respiratory poison linked to leukemia, brain, colon and lymphatic cancer. Microorganisms, live and killed viri and bacteria or their toxins. The polio vaccine was contaminated with a monkey virus, now turning up in human bone. Lung lining, brain tumours and lymphomas. The next ingredient, polysorbate 80, known to cause cancer in animals. Tributyl phosphate, suspected kidney and nerve poison. Glutathione, poisonous if ingested, causes birth defects in experimental animals. Gelatin, produced from selected pieces of calf and cattle skin. Demineralized cattle bones and pork skin. Allergic reactions have been reported. Gentamicin sulfate and polymyxin B, an antibiotic. Allergic reactions can range from mild to life-threatening. Mercury, or dimerosal, one of the most poisonous substances known, has an affinity for the brain, gut, liver, bone marrow and kidneys. Minute amounts can cause nerve damage. Symptoms of mercury toxicity are similar to those of autism. Neomycin sulfate, an antibiotic, interferes with vitamin B6 absorption. An error in the uptake of B6 can cause a rare form of epilepsy and mental retardation. Allergic reactions can be from mild to life-threatening. Phenyl or phenoxyethanol, used as antifreeze, toxic to all cells and capable of disabling the immune system's primary response mechanism. And the last ingredient, human and animal cells. Human cells from aborted fetal tissue and human albumin, pig blood, horse blood, rabbit brain, guinea pig, dog kidney, cow heart, monkey kidney, chick embryo, chicken eggs, duck eggs, calf serum, sheep blood and others. And that's just the starters. This is actually like the ingredients in a vaccine that we would get today. That's not even to mention the vaccines that they're intending to bring in for this so-called COVID, which actually is using different technology, which is the mRNA vaccine, and you can learn more about that through Rashid Abatar, Dr. Rashid Abatar, and also Dr. Karim Madej. They talk about how this new vaccine that they wanted to introduce basically effectively changes your DNA and changes us into a subspecies. And I thought that sounds like a conspiracy theory, but if you actually look into it, you'll see that the doctors and the professionals have been saying this. And we don't really know what the effects are going to be of this, but you know, like, we're not here to be experimented on as a human race. And what's going to happen when the whole world is vaccinated at the same time? And we find out, oops, oh, there's a problem, there's a mistake. Oh, it's made us infertile, or whatever it does to us. Too late. So that's what I've got to say on vaccinations.
I do as well.
And if anybody else wants to speak, you're welcome to do so.
Thank you. Yeah, nice one. Nice one.
Hi, ingredients out there. I just want to add to it as well. Be informed. There's a great video on YouTube called Vaxxed. Okay, there is was it Vaxxed 1 and Vaxxed 2. Please get on YouTube and watch that. There's some great information there. There's also another video on YouTube as well called Plandemic. please get on YouTube. Don't believe a word what we're saying here today. Start with them 2 videos and then go on your journey and research as much as you can.
And download them before they disappear.
Oh, exactly. Download them quick before that. These 2 videos, Plandemic and Vaxxed 1 and 2, they will be censored. They will disappear from the internet. You need to do this now.
I must say we've been very lucky with the weather. It's been lovely weather here today, and Tony and I are...
Can I be on Ben?
Yes,
hello, I'm on one of Ben's videos again.
With
been a long time.
T-shirt, yes.
Yeah, we need to get together back in Lytham St Anne's again.
Yeah.
As soon as we got a chance to get into that YMCA, get together with New Horizons, and I think we need to have a washing up talk on this epidemic.
Definitely, because the St Anne's scene is still there, even though Probe is now finished. But,
so we need to grab hold of the spirit that was going there and get it quick.
Definitely.
We've been talking about this for so long, and I feel like Peter Power did when all of a sudden his projected what was it on 7/7? They were running a simulation of what would happen if bombs went off at the same tube station that actually went off. And as Peter Power said, the hairs on his neck stood up when he suddenly went live. Well, I feel a bit like that now. We've been talking about this lockdown for this social disorder, reordering, for so long, and all of a sudden it's happening. Like Peter Power, the hairs on my neck are starting to stand up a little.
Yeah,
it's gone live, hasn't it?
Definitely. It's amazing. I mean, people used to laugh at me, Tony. I've been laughed at. I've been called names that people said you're crazy. Yeah. I mean, I said a day will come when people wouldn't be free to think and speak or move as they choose, as they see fit. And they said, "Nah, Ben, that'd be daft." Well, guess what? It's happened, and they're not laughing now, as Nigel Farage said. Yeah, we have. It's definitely, absolutely, totally. It's we now have it's funny, 9/11 didn't work, 7/7 didn't work, these other false flags didn't work.
They're all minor, they're all increments on the way to the greater whole.
And now we have this disease, which seems, if anything, this has done far more than any of the others, I would say, than to change
the first 2 decades of this century have seen these epidemics being pushed forward as part of one of the tools for change. Yeah. And we had the bird flu, we had the swine flu, we had mad cow disease. There's lots of attempts to induce panic by these shutdowns, but by not having a shutdown, by just having the epidemics. Didn't work. Someone walked into that room one day and said, "Well, I'll tell you what, let's just tell them that they've all got a lockdown, that they can't go anywhere." Well, we'd never get away with that, would we?
Exactly. They need a reason. They need a reason for it. That's the thing. Oh, it's a shame. And now, I mean, I'll tell you, have you not applied for any of these jobs of being COVID-19 marshals? Forget about that. Because the COVID-19 marshals.
Well, maybe should be a 5th column in the marshals, that all of a sudden we should turn our high-vis jackets inside out and say, "No, everybody mix, everybody gather in more than 20, 30, 40, 50. Well, gather in about 66 million, I think that would be a good gathering to say no to this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the COVID-19 marshals, I mean, I compared them to the capos. Now, what happened was in Nazi Germany is the Jews were all put into ghettos. They call them the Jewish ghettos. Yeah. And then things that they're run by the SS, but the SS could have sent in their own police to sort of police it. What they did instead was they created these capos. They got some of the Jews and they said, "We want you to act as like the policeman of the ghetto."
Enter a teenage George Soros.
Exactly. Yes, he was one of them. And and what's more, and they say, "We'll pay you extra. We'll give you a few more privileges than the other Jews, and you just do this for us." And of course, a lot of them jumped at it, right? And so, and they said, one of the things you've got to do is you've got to round them up, and put them on the cattle trucks when we say so. When we ship them out, the capo says, "Yes, sir, we'll do it." And they kept giving these little bonuses, little privileges, and things like that. And then, of course, then the time came for they said, "Right, we want you on those cattle trucks now." And I said, "What do you mean? I served you. I've done what you told me, and I helped you. And you want me? Come on, get on those cow trucks, sucker."
There will be something
and
like that.
It's going to be like that. Yeah. I say, if you are thinking of applying for the COVID-19 marshal's job, don't, because you are the capos. If you do that, you are simply being part.
Yeah, we will get in touch.
I'll see you again soon.
Yeah.
It's good, man. I've had to head off now. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to Mark. I had to head off because I had I got to do my show tonight, so I couldn't stay for any longer. But it was a really good event. I think we really stirred up a few hornets' nests there. I think we really did a good job to wake people up. I'm really glad I went, and thank you to all people. I'll give you details about, I think I'll put in the video the details about how you can get on the tour, because I'll upload this before the tour's over. But anyway, the weather's perfect. I mean, you can just look at it, you can see the weather's absolutely perfect. There's blue skies, a few clouds, no chemtrails. It's been absolutely fantastic weather. So good luck to all the people who do this tour. They're doing a really fantastic job. And oh man, there's nothing like getting out on the streets and just spreading a bit of goodwill and information and cutting through the lies. Oh, it's just brilliant. And we see here that somebody has written, "I love key workers." Well, that sort of symbology on their dustbin. They really have. This sort of puts in conflicting emotions in me, because of course I used to be a key worker. I was in emergency services, and the way that emergency services are being appreciated in this current situation, I can't help feeling some satisfaction from that. As you know, if you read the HPWA blog. At the same time, I'm well aware that it's not as straightforward as that, and that I don't know if the respect shown to key workers is part of the coronavirus scam hoax, but it makes me, I don't know, I'm split over the whole thing, because I'm emotionally connected to the hospital boarding service. This is my third mask. Where we go on, we go all. A great QAnon mask. You know, I've the COVID 1984 one. I'm putting it through the wash to see if it will actually hold together. But if they will, I'll be washing the other two. Otherwise, I'll have to wash them by hand. But you know, if they fade, if the pen fades, make sure you have plenty of felt pen, so you can just write it again. But you know, it's very easy to make these. I made it from an old shirt. You can make it from any light coloured cloth. It doesn't have to be something that's comfortable and you can breathe through it. And the problem with this kind of material is if it gets wet, it's a bit like being waterboarded. I did have to take one off in the shop because I just couldn't breathe through it because it was been raining outside. So that's the one downside of this kind of material. So it may be flannel's better, but then it's more difficult to write on. But I'll tell you what, you can have great fun with this, and no one can make you take it off. If they try to, you could say, "Oh, I don't want to be infected, do I?" We got them, man. We got them, guys. But we got them hooked by their own rules. That was the Oxford Coronavirus Truth Tour event, and it was absolutely fantastic. And thank you all of you for watching Hapanwo TV. Hospital Porters, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order.